Hi, Ken Regan here again from CKUA. During this public phase of our capital campaign, we've been encouraging you to consider a piece of music that's really important in your life and to consider adopting that song or album from the CKUA Music Library. Well, I thought today, in this last installment of our capital campaign videos, I'd talk to you a little bit about some music that was very important in my life to give you kind of an idea of what we're talking about. So let's start with Gordon Lightfoot. The first time I heard Gordon Lightfoot's music on the radio, I was absolutely spellbound because not only was the music outstanding and the voice unforgettable, but here was someone, a Canadian singer, talking about things that I could relate to. And of course, Lightfoot being from Orillia, Ontario, which is just a little ways south of where I grew up, the music just really spoke to me. And in fact, it had a profound impact on me in terms of my love of folk music generally. So from Gordon Lightfoot, I went on to listen to, Simon and Garfunkel and the folk rock bands of the 60s, and then ultimately delved into the early folk tradition with people like Woody Guthrie, and because before Bob Dylan, of course, there was Woody Guthrie and Pete Seeger. So it was a tremendously powerful influence in terms of my musical appreciation, and even today I can just lose myself in Lightfoot's music. Joni Mitchell, of course, is an international superstar. Again, it was one of those experiences where the first time you heard her, you knew that there was something special there. And so I had listened to Joni's music from her early days, but it was when I heard Blue that I absolutely fell in love with her, because this was an album that I felt it was just complete introspection, and it was Joni Mitchell not just singing songs anymore, but it was Joni Mitchell singing about her heart, and it captivated me and is still one of my favorites of all time. The Beach Boys, of course, were popular in the early 1960s and had all kinds of commercial radio hits. Myself and my friends growing up as teenagers had listened to the Beach Boys, and we enjoyed their music, and it was fun to dance to and all of that stuff. But when this album came out, we were dumbfounded, because this was a completely other thing going on with the Beach Boys. And of course, Pet Sounds is probably one of the greatest recordings ever made from popular music, and Brian Wilson's genius is clearly apparent on every single note of this album. So this is a treasure for anybody who loves the Beach Boys or anybody who loves the popular music of the 1960s, because this was really a turning point in terms of their artistic creativity. Lastly, you couldn't grow up in the 1960s and not listen to or be a fan of the Beatles, I don't think, because they had probably one of the most profound impacts on popular music ever, culminating with the release of Sgt. Pepper, which has been dubbed by many people, not just me, but by many people, as a musical masterpiece. And I think it was just such a powerful statement of both John Lennon and Paul McCartney's songwriting capabilities, but it was just also a tremendously interesting, complex, beautiful piece of art. And like a lot of people, when Sgt. Pepper came out, I played it until I wore it out and had to go buy another copy. So I think that right there says something about the power of music and the power of this particular album. As I mentioned at the beginning, we've been thinking about a piece of music that is important in your life for whatever reason, whatever the story is behind that piece of music, whatever it is that connects you to a certain song or a certain album, and asking you to adopt that piece of music from the CKUA Music Collection. We know the music is important to you because that's why you listen to CKUA, but it's your support of CKUA through programs like the Adopt a Song or Adopt an Album campaign that are important to CKUA, because that's what allows us to continue to do the things that we do and to continue to bring the great music to you that you've grown to appreciate. So I hope you'll consider doing that. I hope that maybe I've given you some ideas or some insight as to why I'd be interested in adopting certain things, and have. And I hope that that you'll give that some thought as well, and that you'll go to share.ckua.com and adopt one of your favorite or most meaningful pieces of music as well. Thanks for listening.